You filled out the form at the bank, net worth. You wrote a number. It was smaller than you expected, not because you hadn't been working, not because you hadn't been trying, because no one had ever explained that income and net worth are two different clocks, and you had spent 10 years watching the wrong one. Here is what changes at every level of net worth, and here is the number that determines which version of the next 10 years you live. Your net worth is negative $40,000. You owe more than you own, and you have owed it so long the number stopped shocking you. The paycheck lands Friday morning. By Monday night, $2,400 is already gone. Rent took $1,300. Minimum payments took $410. Gas, groceries, the phone bill, and the overdraft fee from the week before took the rest. The student loan balance is $26,000. The car is worth $9,000, and you owe $14,000 on it. The credit card sits at $6,000 and has not moved in 3 years because the minimum payment covers only the interest. At this level, every financial decision is a rearrangement, not a choice. You are not building. You are managing the rate of damage. The car needs a repair. You put it on the card. The balance grows. The minimum payment rises by $4. You absorb it. The net worth number moves further negative without a single irresponsible choice on your part. The median net worth of an American renter is $6,000. The median net worth of a homeowner is $254,000. That gap is not explained entirely by income. It is explained by time inside an appreciating asset and by the forced savings a mortgage quietly performs every month. You are on the renter side of that equation right now, and the gap is widening while you read this. You open the banking app you used to close before it loaded. For the first time, the number has a direction. It is climbing towards zero. Zero. You broke even on a Thursday at 9:41 in the morning, and nothing visible happened. No alert, no confirmation, nothing owns a claim on your future earnings anymore. This is not wealth. It is the absence of the condition that made wealth impossible. The change at zero is quiet. You stop making decisions about which debt to feed this month. The background calculation that ran constantly, due dates, balances, which payment can slip, goes silent. Research on financial stress shows that carrying debt consumes a measurable share of working memory. At zero, that capacity comes back to you. You spend it on something other than survival for the first time in years. Your income has not changed. Your expenses have not changed. What changed is direction. Every dollar you earn now builds forward instead of backward. The first dollar above zero is the first dollar that has ever worked entirely for you. You open the app again. For the first time, you set a target above zero, $25,000. $25,000. You have a fully funded emergency fund, a car you own outright, and the opening balance of an investment account. The emergency fund earns almost nothing. It is not supposed to. It generates something the interest rate cannot, the ability to make a decision without crisis as the variable in the equation. You move $15,000 into a low-cost index fund. At 7% average annual return, that $15,000 becomes $29,500 in 10 years. The market adds $14,500 while you are doing something else entirely. You read the word compound on a Monday, and you finally understand it on a Wednesday, when you realize the number grew on a day you did not think about money once. Your credit score, which was 608 when your net worth was negative, is now 712. That 104-point increase lowers your future mortgage rate by roughly 1.2%. On a $300,000 mortgage over 30 years, that is $25,000 in interest you will never pay. Your net worth went up, and your future costs went down in the same motion. At $100,000 net worth, the structure of the number changes. $100,000. This is the threshold most wealth researchers describe as the first true inflection point, the level at which compounding begins to outpace contributions in a meaningful way. At 7% annual return, $100,000 generates $7,000 a year. That is $583 a month, arriving in your account without a single hour worked against it. You are still employed. You still need the salary, but the ratio has shifted. Your capital is now earning the equivalent of a part-time job that never asks for your time. Every year you leave it untouched, that part-time job gets a raise. At year 10, the same $100,000 with no new contributions has become $197,000 and is generating $13,790 a year. People with $100,000 in investable assets make measurably different decisions than people with the same income and a lower net worth. They leave the bad job sooner. They negotiate harder. They take the risk that has a real chance of paying off. The $100,000 is not changing what they can buy. It is changing what they are willing to do. You set the next goal without hesitating. This time, $250,000. $250,000. You are now at the median net worth of an American homeowner. If most of this figure is home equity, it is real but illiquid, untouchable, without selling or refinancing. If you reached it through invested assets instead, the composition is structurally more powerful. Liquid invested capital compounds. Home equity sits still and waits. At this level, the tax structure of your savings starts to matter in ways it did not before. A maxed 401k reduces your taxable income by $23,000 a year. At a 22% marginal rate, that is $5,060 you keep instead of send. A health savings account adds another $3,850 of pre-tax room. These instruments existed at every income level you have ever had. Used correctly across the remaining years of your career, the difference is measured in hundreds of thousands of dollars. Your invested capital is now generating $17,500 a year. That figure covers more than 8 months of median household expenses without you touching the principal once. At $500,000 net worth, the machine starts running faster than you can feed it by hand. $500,000. At 7% annual return, this generates $35,000 a year. The median household income in the United States is $74,000. Your capital is now earning 47% of that figure while you sleep. If your fixed cost base is under $3,000 a month, your capital is covering more than your essential expenses passively. The decisions available here are structurally different from the ones at $250,000. You can absorb a year without income and never touch the invested principal. You can take the job that pays less but owns more, and the contributions you make now are no longer the engine. At this balance, a single 7% year adds $35,000. To add $35,000 from salary, you would have to save nearly $3,000 every month, 12 months straight. The market is now out-saving the most disciplined version of you that has ever existed. You do not feel fireworks. You feel quiet. The balance crosses $600,000 within 2 years on returns alone, before a single new deposit lands. At $1 million net worth, the number stops being about you. $1 million. At 7% annual return, this generates $70,000 a year. After tax, depending on the structure of the accounts, you keep between $59,000 and $63,000. That is a full median household income produced by capital that is no longer shrinking. You are not rich in the way the word is normally used. You cannot buy anything you want. You can buy time, permanently. The distance from 1 million to 2 million is the easiest stretch in this entire video. At 7%, 1 million becomes 2 million in roughly 10 years with no new contributions at all. The first 100,000 took discipline, restraint, and years of decisions made against your own impulses. The second million takes patience and nothing else. The machine you spent 2 decades building now does the work that 2 decades of your labor used to do. $2 million generates $140,000 a year at 7%, nearly twice the median household income, produced by a system that asks nothing of you except that you leave it alone. The person who reaches this number and the person who once owed $40,000 are frequently the same person, separated only by which clock they learn to watch. 3 things you can do today. Calculate your actual net worth. Every asset, every liability, one number. Not your income, not your salary. The number the bank form asked for. Most people have never written it down, which is exactly why it stays small. Identify whether your net worth is liquid or trapped. A paid-off house and a paid-off car are real, but they do not compound the way invested capital does. If more than 70% of your net worth is illiquid, that is the variable to change before the next decade starts. Automate one transfer into an invested account on payday before the money is ever visible to you. The amount matters less than the mechanism. The clock you are not watching runs whether you participate or not. Somewhere right now, someone is filling out the same form at the same bank. They are writing a number smaller than they expected. They have been watching the wrong clock for 10 years. The other one has been running the entire time.